What's up, Rockstars? Today I have a ton of great news for you. There's a lot of stuff in this February update for Kickstarter. There are just board games galore. There's games that are already on Kickstarter. There are some that I haven't even covered yet I'm going to be showing you. There's a whole bunch coming out in February. I'm going to be showing you everything that I know that's coming out there, that I'm looking at least. And then, of course, there's a ton of news. I got Monster Hunter World news. I got all sorts of stuff for you. So stay tuned, strapped in, and let's get going. As always, I'd like to give a quick shout out and thank you to my patrons and YouTube members. It is through their continued financial support that this channel is able to stay as honest and independent as it is. That's because I do not rely on the game industry for anything. Instead, I rely on the community, you guys, to actually support this effort. And so if you appreciate this level of honesty, so that I can talk my opinion and not my wallet's opinion, there's a link down below for that if you're able to. If not, though, that's fine too. That's okay. Just a simple like, comment saying thanks that this video was helpful. Trust me, that's more than enough, and I thank you for it. All right, with that, let's go ahead and get into this. And I will say, I guess before I really get in, there are some bonuses. I'll be showing you guys some miniatures that I have over here from Oathsworn. I'm going to have some miniatures from Epic 7. There's going to be some cool stuff. So actually, let's go ahead and start with that Epic 7 Arise. This has just like 30 hours to go at the time of recording. That shows you how late to the game I am. I'm always just trying to get as much information into these videos as possible, so I stay as long as possible and then film it for you guys. But that, if you're seeing this when I launch this video, then you're in time. There is a link down below. You can catch the very end of it if you want. Almost 500,000 raised, which is super impressive for a new company, especially a new company that has struggled to get like playable prototypes out and stuff like that. I know they've been working on that. They did send me some miniatures, so I wanted to show some miniatures real quick, but suffice it to say they're unlocking a whole bunch of unlocks, stuff like that. They have an all-in pledge. I think it's like $180, something like that. It's not a whole lot. It's actually pretty cheap. And so just to show you some of these miniatures, like here's one. As you can see, super detailed and advanced. They got a sculpted base there, crazy weapon. As always, you know, this is prototype. This is a resin 3D print, right? And so it's nothing final, but yeah, pretty impressed with a lot of these models. I think they look great. Very anime, so if you're not into anime, then that's definitely not something you necessarily want. But to paint it with bright colors and all that kind of stuff, I think the artwork looks really cool. Some of them are a little too anime for me, but others like this guy are just freaking sweet. And they even have like these cute freaking enemies. Like my daughter like fell in love with that. Is that not adorable? I freaking love him. So anyway, that's that. They're super cool. I like them, so I'll be taking a look at them, and I'll let you guys know about the campaign, obviously, as well. Moving on from that, we have Primal, which, dear God, Primal broke 2 million. Crazy successful for Reggie Games. I mean, really incredible. Over 9,000 backers, and there's still 62 hours. This hasn't even hit the 48-hour mark. I don't know if I know the number is going to go up. I don't know if there are going to be some people that decide against it at the very end, which is fine. You know, that happens. But at the same time, it's like, man, there's going to be a big influx as well. They need to update the graphics. Says 8,000 plus backers. It's now 9,000 plus backers. It's insane. One of the big things that they have been doing, I'm going to go to the updates here. I've been really impressed. They've been going like full ham on the unlocks now. They look at that, 50 unique AI decks. They've been doing a whole bunch more nightmare decks. They've been doing some legendary stuff as well. And so, like, this kind of stuff is awesome. If I could zoom in on this, let's go ahead and take a look here. I'll show you what I'm talking about. So this one essentially says that you can climb up the monster's back on his, like, crystals to get onto his back and start attacking him from up there. But then if at the end of the round there were 2 counters in this card to do that, then it triggers the Unleash ability. The Unleash ability kills everybody in front of them, essentially, unless they reveal 3 defense. It's an instant KO. So how do you deal with that? Well, really what you want to do is you want to get the person with the aggro up on top, right? So that when that unleashes, so that when it does, he's not necessarily turning to face anybody, and you can kind of manage around that. So you really have to manage both when you get up there, who's getting aggro, and then where everybody else is. And you all have to look several turns ahead to be able to manage that. Definitely a teamwork effort there. I can see why these are nightmare modes. If you're not playing optimally, you're gonna die, which just sounds awesome to me. I love a challenge. So often these board games, they're honestly kind of easy, right? Especially any kind of campaign-driven one, you rarely lose. And if you do, you just keep going anyway, right? There's not a lot of resets. I'm looking at you, Bloodborne. I see you back there. That's cool. I dig it. They've been doing a ton of these Nightmare decks, right? Just adding more gameplay and more gameplay and more gameplay. I think that's great. And it just keeps coming. They're adding more lore. They had a little vote asking what people wanted, and they wanted you to vote for their top 3. They're doing more than 3 of those. So they're going to have more lore. They're going to have more map stuff. They're going to have more, the Nightmare classes are from that, right? You got core game classes, upgraded cards. There's just a ton of stuff. There really is. They've been adding, like, it started out kind of slow, right, with the unlocks, but lately, oh my gosh, they've been going crazy. So yeah, definitely a well-earned 2 million there for them. Congratulations to Reggie Games for that. Be interested to see what it ends up at. Okay, next we have Super Deluxe Radlands. Radlands is pretty much Borderlands, mixed with, oh gosh, what was the new one? I can't even think of the name right now. They made a second one, and the second one's all neon. Is Rage 2. Rage 1 I played, and it was not like Rage 2. But Rage 2 looks a little bit more Borderlands-like. Anyway, this looks super, actually really cool. I've only looked a little bit into the card gameplay, though from what I can see, it looks quite interesting and something that I would kind of play, which I think is kind of cool. I like anything that uses tokens on top of cards. I don't know why, but something about the build-up to something like that on a single card really kind of gets me. So I actually really like that as well. One of the cool things here that I thought, oh yeah, look at that. A neoprene mat. Not stitched. Stitch your neoprene mat. Always well worth it. What you don't want is the frayed mouse pad at the very end, especially if you play this game a lot. So if you think you're going to love the game, it'd be nice if that was stitched. I personally will never pay for a neoprene mat that's not stitched. Just a personal stance of mine. It doesn't cost that much more, at least to the consumer that I've noticed. And they're always expensive anyway. So if I'm going to buy a neoprene mat, it may as well be a stitched one. My personal opinion on that. Okay. Anyway, a pretty good, cost or price to everything. Love tapping that stuff. That's great. What I wanted to point out, I keep pausing, besides, oh man, the color is great. Oh, look at that. Looks so premium. Is their plastic cards. I must have skipped it. I'll find it. It looks really cool. Yeah, this synth resilient cards, that are made out of some PVC based stock. So it's like kind of a plastic stock core base to it that kind of keeps its shape, so you can bend it edge to edge, and it's still kind of, not that I would ever do that, but it almost looks like you could just bridge these and be fine. I mean, that's insane. That's really cool. I would love to get my hands on some cards like this, just because I always try to comment on cards thickness and like reviews and stuff like that. And in general, I think that's super cool, and potentially something I would like to see in other board games. It definitely even help keep the idea of sleeving at bay, because last thing I want to do is spend another $40 to sleeve a game that was, only $100 to begin with, and then it doesn't fit into the storage, or it does, and then everybody that doesn't sleeve is buying for too much space in the storage. It's just a mess. If we could just have cards that were waterproof, bendable, and still enjoyable to play, that's the key word there too. It needs to feel good, right? That would be killer. That'd be awesome. So I'd love to take a look at that. I don't know if I'm going to back this just to do it, but I don't know. I'll take a look into this. I still got 12 days. You got 12 days. We're good. And 225 out of a 19,000 goal, 4,000 backers. They're doing great. So good for them. Next up, we have Savage Company Machines of War. This is a much smaller scale game. Definitely a small skill thing. From Tulsa, Oklahoma. I went to college in Oklahoma, so I went to Tulsa for some concerts. It's about the only reason I went down there. I had to pay to drive down there on the turnpike, which I didn't enjoy, but pretty city. Anyway, like you guys care. Yeah, mechs. I like mechs. I remember way back in the day playing like those mech warrior games and all that, and you'd suit up in the thing and you'd lumber around all that. And every little boy, I think, growing up, thinks that's like the coolest freaking thing ever, right? I know I did. It was like dinosaurs, and then once I got a little bit older, it went to like mechs, right? Where I could shoot missiles and crap. So I think that's awesome. So wanted to give them a little shout out. They obviously have a lot more planned. So if they keep going, they're going to keep adding to it, which looks awesome as well. Didn't look too much more into it than that, but no, I think that's great. And I think we need more mech games. I really think we do. It's very underrepresented. Let's get less Caribbean pirates, more mechs. I'm down with that. Okay, moving on. This is actually useful. The next two are useful if you are looking for terrain. One for Dungeons and Dragons, one for, or, whatever tabletop RPG fantasy-based thing you do, and then one for more Warhammer, tabletop war games kind of thing. This is kind of cool. I don't know if I'm going to show a video or not. Maybe they have a GIF. It's essentially all magnetic, but I think it's a very cool idea, how it just kind of snaps on there. Come on, you guys gotta give me a GIF. Give me a GIF. No, oh, close. Wait, okay, here, maybe we can do something here. Yeah, I just want to see you build something. Anyway, they just kind of snap in there, which is, I think, pretty cool. And you can kind of do whatever you want. He's trying to hurry. You wouldn't necessarily build it this way. But I think that's awesome. Look at that. That's pretty sweet. I dig that. I believe they're spaced quite well for your tabletop stuff. Also, just neat stuff. I dig it. I like it. Anyway, thought that seemed pretty simple and cool. One of the hardest parts about terrain is storage. That's always hard. So anything you can stack up like that, I think is super nice. So that's pretty cool, and I think they're doing fairly well here. I want to give them a shout out as well. It's by Mithril Armory, which is just doing this kind of cool stuff. Moving on, we have a loading screen. We have, come on, load it, TiunkerTurf. This is their Sci-Fi terrain release 2.1. I don't know what 2.1 means per se. I look forward to the 2.1.7.6583 beta test A. If it's made up numbers. Anyway, it looks really nice, especially for like Warhammer kind of stuff. It's all MDF terrain, right? So you kind of have to build it. A little on the pricey side, but it's also pre-colored, which is nice, and you can get it in both neutral and abandoned, which just makes it darker. It looks, as you can see, it can hold a ton of stuff. There's a Warhammer book up there even. Store's quite nice, which I think is also great. Because again, storage is key. And you have some really tall stuff too. I really like when you really get some elevation on tabletop terrain. I'm building my rampart. As you can see, I'm still building it, cleaning it up and adding the pegs and gluing all that together. And it's turning out great, but it's one of the things where I want stuff up high as well. I love the idea of elevation in these kind of games. So I think that's key, that you even get like the magnetic trams that are raised and stuff like that. So anyway, it looked really cool to me. You can see that, it looks gorgeous all put together. Like, that is nice. So that'd be freaking sweet. That is this is probably more of a map I would like, where it's a little bit more open. That gives me a little bit of claustrophobia, but this one looks great. Anyway, so that looked cool to me as well. Getting a little on the pricey side, but you get what you pay for typically in life. So there is that too, and they're about to break 100,000. So congrats to them on that. Okay, that's what's currently running. Let's go towards what's coming out. First of all, we have this Cult of the Deep. Now, this is releasing. Let me check my notes. Checking my notes right now. Cult of the February 2nd. So very, very soon on this. As you can see, a very pretty game. This is just the review copy that I could have grabbed. I didn't. Just because I'm already so slow. As you guys have seen, I've been doing 3-4 videos a week. It's insane. Trying to catch up. I'm still way behind on review. So I didn't have the time for them, unfortunately, but it looks very pretty. My opinion, I think that looks quite nice. And what's also cool is they have this just this really cool setting where you're trying to stop Cthulhu kind of stuff, right? But you got blood mages and alchemists and astrologers and necromancers and merchants and assassins and stuff like that. And then, of course, the enemies, if I'm going to go the right way, you have sirens and blood rites and, altar sacrifices and a sea hydra and a freaking kraken. Why not? Transmutation. All sorts of cool stuff. I think the art looks cool. Looks like a pretty neat little card game with some board game elements stacked on top. I dig it. Next up, we have Kingdom Rush. Apparently I'm going to load every page. I don't know why my computer does it sometimes. This comes out on February 9th, as you can see. So in about 9 days from me recording this, which I think is super cool. This is a whole new game. It does add a little bit to it. Also has a giant boss miniature. Now, I am ashamed to say that I have not unboxed this. It's sitting right here. It needs to be unboxed. I get it. I know. I'm sorry. I'm working on it. I've been playing Solomon Kane. I'm about to have a review for that after I play through this last campaign. So hopefully you guys appreciate my hustle on that. and I'll get to Kingdom Rush. I'll try and get to it before it launches, so you guys at least see my initial take on the unboxing of it. I'll try and get a review before the end of this is out. I'm definitely trying to do more reviews. Again, I'm sorry. Stay with me. I'm working on it. I hope you've realized the work I've tried to put towards that. It looks all pretty, and I think my kids are going to love it, so I'm still excited for it. Okay, next up, Bloodstone, coming out February 16th on this one. This is kind of like an arena-based game, but it's like PvPvE, where it's PvP but also PvE. I'm basing that off of the fact that you have, characters fighting each other and characters fighting enemies, as they show in the trailer. So basing off the trailer, that's what I'd guess. Looks like the map's kind of cool. I really dig the player boards. Looks like it's card and dice based. I like the combination. That seems cool. Art style seems quite neat. The miniatures seem fairly static, but that's okay. It's probably what I'd expect from a game from Skybound. They're not known for like top tier, craziness when it comes to that. So they look decent from what I can tell. Definitely interested in this one. I like the style of it. Next up, I don't want to go to the next. Oh, there you go. You can see her. Radgost Force. This is first half of February is a quote I have. So soon. We're now getting into games that I don't know a precise date on. I have unboxed this. I will be reviewing this. I will be posting the unboxing of this very soon. So be on the lookout for that. Definitely a game with charm. Definitely a unique game. Unlike anything I've played before. It looks absolutely pretty much ridiculous. One of the most adorable prototypes I've ever had. I had to untie things with strings and it was wrapped in felt, and you'll see it. It's funny. But anyway, so yeah, I'll be looking into that. Definitely looks interesting. Oh man, see, again, I'm going with the pictures. I don't know what I'm doing. Loaded I get it. Okay. So we have Chamber of Wonders. This is from LMS Light. It's their first one they're doing under their Light campaign. I thought they had done another one, but perhaps they didn't. Apparently I'm not going to load anything. I don't know what happened. Okay, don't click that link. I'm back now, though. This is Chamber of Wonders. I don't know exactly when it's coming, but I'm assuming it's soon because they've had this up for a little bit now, actually. And it looks very pretty. I like the 3D elements to it. I always do. The card holder tray things here seem cool. The meeples, I'm not a fan of meeples at all, period. You guys know that. However, if I were to get meeples, I'd get ones that look like this. I think those are pretty much look like standees, in my opinion, just smaller. So that looks neat as well. I don't know a whole lot about it. There's just a little bit of info here. I'll link to it. All these are linked down in the description below, by the way. Feel free to follow those as you desire, either after the video or during the video or whatever you want. That's fine. Moving on from that, we have Candy Wars. Again, with the load. All I want to point out here is this guy knows what's up with this KOA preview. Good for him. Okay, moving on from that. Candy Wars. This is fun. I actually added a quote of mine, which I thought was kind of funny. Since my daughter just yesterday said this was her new favorite game. Yes, she did. She definitely made that comment. I had to send my prototype off to another channel that's going to be doing another review. And this was, so it's actually kind of unfortunate. They were going to get a review from 2 other channels that flaked out on them. And this is the second time I've heard that happening. And you reviewers need to stop that. If you agree to something, do it. Or if nothing else, send the prototype back. You shouldn't just be taking prototypes and keeping it like that. That is, I don't care what happened. Figure it out. That's dumb. Have somebody go to your home while you're in the hospital and do it if you're in the hospital. I mean, there other people are relying on stuff. So anyway, I think that's irresponsible, and I'm not going to speak about that anymore right now. But if I keep hearing about it, I'm going to have a little conniption fit on camera for it. Regardless, I sent my copy out to another group that could review it, so you will be seeing another review of it at least. I don't know if they will do an unboxing. So that'll be kind of cool. My kids loved it. I had fun playing it with them. That's pretty much all I could ask. When it goes to like kid games like this, right? Like my kids will play games with me. They'll play Solomon Kane with me, right? They'll do this kind of stuff. And that's fine. And that's great. But when you get something like Candy Wars in front of them with the 3D terrain and the gnomes, shooting, jelly belly, sniper rifles and stuff like that, they love it. They just eat it up, and I see it every time. And so as long as they love it and I can still not hate it while I play it, right? If I can still enjoy myself playing it with them, that's pretty much all I asked for. So that was cool. It was cool to hear her say that. And so I let them know about it, and I guess they used that quote, which is awesome. I think that's cool. Well earned, because they did indeed love this game. So, And from what I hear, they're doing a lot of, effort and work on, just making it the best game they can. They're listening to all feedback, which is great. And, so good for them. I think they have some, success coming their way. Okay. Next up, we have Deep Madness. Round 3, the third Kickstarter campaign will be coming soon for Deep Madness. Don't know when that is, but here it is on their website. I don't know how to feel. Okay, so if you don't have a web store, I fully support re-releasing Kickstarters on the regular. I have no problem with that inherently. The hard part is Kickstarter's requirement for you to make something new. And I don't necessarily want you to keep shoveling stuff into a game just to put it back on Kickstarter either, right? Deep Madness, I have it all, has a lot of stuff. There's a lot to Deep Madness. Do we need more of it? Probably not. There comes a point, I got to that point with Joan of Arc actually too, where this is enough. This is more than I ever need, right? It's a lot of game. But it's been their most popular, and I get that too. I would like to see Celestial Dimension games, so let's get Celestial on here too. Twisted Fables is great. Here's Celestial here. This needs to happen. I need this game. I am a huge fan of skirmish games. I'm a huge fan of the cool art style they have. I am a fan of pretty much all of that. Let's make that happen. I will help out. Let me know how I can help get that in front of people, including me, which is mostly what I want. Okay, moving on from that. We have Post Finem. This is by Officer Brush. He did the wolf thing as well. Came in a little thing like this, which was kind of cool. I liked it. Has these miniatures. I have not put mine together, but as you can see, it's quite well done. So excited about that. He's having a new one where he's getting new stuff, essentially. And so that'll be on Kickstarter here soon. I'd assume probably around in February, but again, I don't know when. Moving on, another one. This is kind of cool. This is by Twin Goddess Miniatures. I am a patron of theirs. And so I saw this where there's a D&D 5e Journey to the West. But there's more to it than that. This is an upcoming Kickstarter that they're doing the sculpting for. Here's some of the art. Here's some of the minis in gold. Here's a sneak peek to another mini. As you can see, they're definitely dynamic and highly stylized and kind of interesting like that. There is a preview page here. You can't see a whole lot on there though. However, again, link down below for that. I personally love the Journey to the West storyline. I love DBZ. It's based on that. I can see the similarities. I love that. I think that's great. Anyway, it's a 3D printable minis for your tabletop or penny displays with a free one-shot 5e adventure and stat blocks for level 5 and level 10. So there's that as well. Okay, moving on. Now we are to the updates. Here's Middara. Their last update, by the way, was December 18th. So I think we're pretty much due for an update here, and here's why. And I don't think we need to tell them. I think they're going to do it. Because February, they are delivering this sucker, for Wave 1. That is cool. Not only that, but I have some info for you that, they'll actually launch their, website where you can buy the Wave 1 stuff also in February. So in February, people will be getting their game, and you're going to be able to go online off of Kickstarter and actually order the darn thing and have it shipped to you. That is pretty killer. Let me see if there was anything else. They will be doing the same later on for Wave 2. So they're going to, February is going to be a big month for Succubus Publishing. That's all I'm saying. These guys are really, really great guys. They know what's up about what we want. They've been running Kickstarters extremely well, and their 2.5 million was incredibly well earned from some darn good hustle on their part and treating customers right and actually sending out the game and waiting for it to get in people's hands before launching that other Kickstarter. They make games, not campaigns. I dig that. That's a good mentality. And moving on from that, I'm excited to get Middara. I've been excited for a while. Okay, move on. We have Limbo. This is the Saga of Noadin. This is also getting here pretty darn soon. As you can see, they are shipping this stuff out. Shipping should begin this month in January. I don't know what the update is there. Nobody does, but I'm assuming, obviously it's ready, right? It just needs to get out the freaking door at this point. So, I am still wanting to show some of these off to you, if I can early, but if not, that's fine too. Either way, looking forward to this one, especially that wolf, which I think was in picture number 1. That wolf. I want to paint that wolf. All right, moving on. Okay, Darkest Dungeon. It's on GameFound. Their pledge manager's open. I just wanted to give a quick update on both Darkest Dungeon and especially Hel. Neither of them I have finished the Pledge Manager for, but I wanted to say that I've played enough of Solomon Kane now. I know I haven't done the review yet. I will do the review, where I feel comfortable saying that it's fine to back Hel. That I can officially say that. I know I was a little cautious at first because I wanted them to deliver something that had a lot of writing in it that wasn't messy, right? They didn't have a ton of mistakes or stuff in a different language or anything like that. I have looked through all of the discovery cards in Solomon Kane. I've looked through many of the, at this point, actually, because I've already played through two, of the campaigns in there, and it runs smooth. Nothing's perfect. I get that. There's one line in the rule book that's repeated twice in the reference. like, you could nitpick, but it's good enough to where I am fine saying I think Hel will be good as well. So that was my concern, because I know it's a lot of writing and they had trouble with their printed material before, but Solomon Kane, it's not a problem at all. So, yeah, I'll be looking into Hel as well. This was the only other campaign of theirs, I believe, that I haven't not backed. I've pretty much backed everything else. You guys know, I already got Darkest Dungeon 150, and I was hemming and hawing about what I'll get there on video. I'm still hemming and hawing. You know how it is. Just trying to spend money responsibly. Anyway, Hel looks interesting, so I'll be looking into this more now, and I'll let you guys know in my what I plan on backing video, what I plan on backing on this, so stay tuned for that. But anyway, link down below to that, and I think it's great that their Pledge Manager is still open, so they can prove themselves, and then we can be like, okay, well, maybe I'll give you some money then. I think that's great. Let's talk about Tainted Grail. Let's talk about Eastar as a manufacturer. Let's talk about Awakened Realms still using that garbage company. Did I say that? Okay. This is not a dig at the game, by the way. This is a dig at a crappy miniature that a crappy manufacturer continues to make for a company that's too good for them. Okay? Awakened Realms, I believe, could be top tier miniature company where miniature painters would back their stuff just for their miniatures if they got rid of Eastar, kicked them to the curb. Don't use Eastar. I do not like them. I have never liked one full game by them ever. It just doesn't happen. I do not like that. They just suck. And I'm going to explain why. I'm going to show you in detail why. And not even with a Tainted Grail miniature. But let's go ahead and look at this first. This is what the amazing sculpt comes from Awakened Realms, right? It's a great sculpt. That's an awesome freaking sculpt. I love the bear. He's like snarling, right? You can see he's riding it, and its head's tilted up, and it's got this armor kind of stuff on it, even on its like paws, and it's on this like cool rocky base. This is what they deliver. That's bull crap. That is not what was advertised. It's not even close. Apparently, Eastar thinks that this is a rock. This is the same. That's not the same at all. Apparently, Eastar can't do open mouths very well, and so they decided to close the mouth, but keep the head tilted up, so it looks like he's like sniffing his own fart or something. Instead of being like scary and snarling and vicious and ferocious and aggressive, he just looks like he wants to get pet, and he wants to scratch right underneath the chin there. He lost all armor on his paws, apparently. And apparently they can't have legs poking out, so they just shrink it all in. I'm going to show that in detail. In fact, let's go ahead and do that. I'm sick and tired of saying that Eastar sucks and not showing you why. So this is why. This is why. This is why. On the right is the Eastar version of this miniature. On the left is literally every other company's, okay? Doesn't matter what this one was, because they were all like this, okay? Now, I've circled some parts, so let's go ahead and take a look at this. You'll notice that these kind of hair braids flow out. Well, Eastar, again, just like that, just like this foot, right? Just like this foot here, right? That was out and is now in. They just slunk everything in there, right? To make it as cheap as possible. So, bam, it's now attached, right? Same with this. See how this banner is poking out, right? It's kind of bending out, so it looks like a separate piece. Now let's just shrink that all the way in there. Again, you can't get nothing. It's going to be a pillar, right? They can't do detail very well either. I mean, like, look at this great detail here. I don't know what happened to it, but Eastar just removed it, apparently. Apparently they can't sculpt that part. That just isn't gonna happen. Yeah, anyway, look how separate this sword looks. Look at that. Now let's shrink it right onto there, right? Let's look how separate that arm looks. Nah, let's just, like, have it to where it looks like it's going through a Stargate, over to the miniature, right? So it just kind of keeps going straight. It's like, here's the curve, and then stargates into the mini, right? Same thing with the sword. Look how That sword just looks like it's laid on top of that. Nah, let's just mold it into the sand, because why the heck not? And again, you have a wonderful guy here that's sitting there. It looks all separate. And here he's now molded in and is stargating into the end as well. Eastar does not make good minis. That is not good. Yes, there is detail there. But detail doesn't matter if you butcher the sculpt. Detail doesn't matter if it looks plain and boring. I don't know. I don't get it. And again, then you're missing whole swaths of detail. When I painted the Knight Errant, I thought, what a great and cool concept Awakened Realms made. They made a cool freaking idea with that Knight Errant for Tainted Grail. And I wanted to paint him. I got to start painting him. And Eastar decided to get rid of all of the detail at the end of the horse's tail. Just completely smooth like a baby's butt. I don't want to paint a baby's butt horsetail. I want to paint a cool horsetail. And I look over and it's like, well, Awakened Realms sent them a cool render, right? They had the cool file with the cool detail and then just butchered it like they did this, just like they butchered it on this, and just like they continue to butcher things in the future. I would make a video just on this if tomorrow Awakened Realms announced that they are not using Eastar, that they've decided to actually join the rest of us in better miniatures by getting rid of that crappy company. I do not like Eastar at all, because this is bullcrap. What's advertised, there should be a little difference, right, between a render and a miniature. There needs to be a difference. I get that, right? Because one's a digital render and one's a physical product that's this big, right? That's fine. But it shouldn't be that much of a variance. And they're the only ones that do it. The only ones. Look at all these games. Look at all of them down here. Nobody else is doing it. Nobody. You're alone. And I know Awakened Realms deserves better. They do, because they have some cool freaking designs. And then they pair up with this crappy manufacturer that can't do crap, and I cannot stand them. Ugh! Don't use Eastar. Okay. Moving on. Okay, this is kind of cool. So this is actually, let me come over here. Eldfall Chronicles. I'm going to go back over here. I just needed to remember I got the name right. I forget the L in Eld. I want to say Eldfall. Anyway, as you can see, it's kind of like a skirmish game. They got skills, they got combat arts and traits, and an inventory where they have different weapons with different abilities that do different things, and recruitment costs, and a limit of how many you can have, and it very Warhammer-ish kind of tabletop skirmish thing, right? Here's some of the tokens you can have. So you can be shrouded. I don't know what that means. And incapacitated, poisoned, flying. You do all sorts of cool stuff there. Here's some of the minis. Here's one of the newer ones they've shown. Here are, spoiler alert. I need to go outside of this. How do I exit out of this? Escape. I want to exit out. We'll go this way. Sometimes the X just disappears on me, but Facebook is crappy. We all know that. Anyway, I want to look at these miniatures here. The only bummer I have on this is their 28mm, which sucks. I don't like 28mm. You need to go upper, not lower. I think they're doing the 28mm because they want people to also use them in Dungeons and Dragons, and I get the call and the temptation and the seductiveness of Dungeons and Dragon money. I get that. As a painter and as a person who appreciates miniatures and a person who doesn't want to get a migraine from the eye strain of trying to see the miniature on the table, I want a larger miniature. I don't want 28. I want 35 as like a minimum. Ideally, you could go full, Oathsworn and get, the big 40, 45mm. Either way, I think these look really cool. Very well designed. I love the design of pretty much all of them. I think they're very, very cool. I love seeing the bowstring. I love how this guy also has a bow with the bowstring, but it's all to his side. Again, anytime you can get an archer not doing anything, just bog standard, I think that's great. I think they just all look cool. So definitely well designed. That's super cool. Now, here is Monster Hunter. I'm going to be telling you about Monster Hunter, but before that, I actually want to tell you a little bit about this Oathsworn. So this is one of the Hips miniatures, by the way. If you are wondering how those look like, I have an unboxing coming up where I'm going to show you all of those, plus some of their PVC miniatures, plus how the weapons, go in and out, their push fit compared to a Games Workshop one. I have one of those, so I'm comparing the two together, plus taking them all apart and putting them all together, plus a super cool look at one of the spoiler monsters. I say it's a spoiler before I show it, obviously, but oh my gosh, is it cool. It was the first one I saw, and I instantly, like, I'm loading up Tabletopia, or Tabletop Simulator, I think is what we beta tested it in when I was play testing it, and I was like, who's that guy? What's that? That is awesome. Right? I was like, that dude, I want to know more about. And so that's super cool. And then I was like, and then who's this dude? And they're like, well, that's actually the Brood of Mother. I'm like, it's a chick. Anyway, super cool. Very, very awesome. So excited to show him off as well. Okay. Monster Hunter World, the board game. This is by Steamforged Games. They announced this right around when Primal announced their thing, which was all kinds of awkward. There is some differences, though, that I would like to point out. At first, when they first talked about it, it was super high level, and it sounded pretty much like the same game. But there are differences. Let's see. So, right here, you have your deck of cards for your 12 weapons that they have. 12 weapons, by the way. That's a lot. Hunters queue up moves on a stamina board that can hold 5 cards at a time and empty out from left to right. This allows Steamforged Games to represent both the swift and relenting style of the dual blades and the multi-step preparation of weapons like the Great Sword and Charge Blade. So essentially you kind of build up your queue and then, I guess, divvy it out that way, which that's my favorite part of Primal, is when you can build up that combo and just do it all in one go, right? And not get interrupted. That was always my favorite part. So that actually is kind of cool. I dig that. And pretty much, instead of a traditional story, you just get a whole bunch of random encounters, which branching choices. The random encounters is a bummer. I do not like that. And core pledge is priced at about 140. All this, I'm going to go in and tell you that, their biggest miniature here is over a foot tall on a 350 millimeter base, but I think they cheated doing that. And I'm going to tell you why. So let's go here. Let you look at all the pricing. Okay. First of all, here's this guy. Be cautious. Their scale is smaller on the heroes, just like, a lot of these other games that are shrinking it to make a scale. Bloodborne, same thing. They got these tiny little 20 millimeter miniatures that I hate. I think these are 30 millimeter, I think is what they're doing with the heroes. Either way, just be cautious of that detail level on those small minis. I know the render looks cool. I reserve my judgment on these scales on his boots and these tiny rivets on his kneecaps and this clasp on his satchel until I see it in the flesh. Okay, let's look at some of these prices. Entry pledge, $70. This is with four monsters, 4 hunters, right? That's pretty much it. This is kind of like the Anthraspace Odyssey prelude. If you recall, they did a kind of a prelude thing that was like a mini version of the game. So it's just kind of a trimmed down version that's cheaper. So they do have that, which is kind of cool. It seems 4 monsters though seems incredibly limiting to me, but there it is. Core pledge. This is the main one, 140. So again, these numbers are going up. They are getting more expensive still. Don't know how I feel about that. I'll keep an eye on it. Maybe make a video on it if I need to later. It's coming in April, by the way. So not February, but this is news now. So this is what I'm talking about. Here, you're going to get 7, 8, 9 monsters and 8 hunters for $140. And you can see, some of them here. Not all of them, obviously. And these look like lasers, by the way. It looks like they're shooting like lasers out of their eyes. I don't know what that is. Okay, here's an all-in pledge. $279. So again, this is pricey as well. You get 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 monsters. Now, I don't know what stretch goals they're going to have, but 12 monsters for $300-ish, right? And 12 hunters. Now, they're saying this is going to be a 75-hour campaign. So 75 hours with 12 monsters is a lot of grind, unless you're fighting every single monster twice, and each time you're doing it takes about 3 hours, and you get close to the 75. Ideally, you're not playing through all of them twice, because then there's more replayability with, I never even fought this guy because I didn't, get that random encounter or whatever. So it might be even more grinding. So I am kind of cautious about that right now, that there might be a lot of grinding the same guy over and over again to get the gear. And I would let that spin along. Here's that giant miniature, by the way. Notice it's pretty much the same size as like this guy here, but standing up with his wings out, right? And so they just took one and did this. It's the tallest one, right? It's like, I don't know if he's actually that much bigger. I mean, spread out is spread out, right? I get it. And standing is standing. He's big. And I think he is a little bit bigger than them too, but it's not to that ridiculous level where it's just this huge dragon that's crouched in a foot tall, right? It's standing up on its hind legs with its wings out to be super big. So there is that as well. I like the idea of building up the 5-card combo. I'll keep an eye on this, obviously. I really enjoyed Bard's Song when I played that the 2 times I did, so that was enjoyable, which has me interested in their other stuff. So I guess we'll see. I'll wait and see. I don't like that these guys are small. I don't like my problem with this, and the same thing with Bloodborne. You're gonna hear me in the review too. That's me, right? And I don't want me to be tiny, right? When I played Joan of Arc and you have those 15mm minis, but you're playing an army, that's a little different, right? When it's me, and the most common thing I do in this entire campaign is move me and use me, and I'm this tiny little guy, that's what I don't like, right? Like, maybe I'll talk about perspective at some point too, but suffice it to say, I'm not at eye level with him, like a video game, right? I'm sitting at a table looking down on things. And so the difference in scale doesn't matter as much as you might think. As long as this thing is bigger and noticeably bigger, it doesn't necessarily matter if it's 3 times bigger or 4 times bigger. I'm not going to notice. So anyway, it's my 2 cents on that. That's all I have, guys. I think that's plenty, right? That's a big update. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. If there's anything I missed, let me know. Of course, I'll either comment on it or add it to the list in the description below, because there's a ton of links there for you guys. Or I can add it for a future video or something like that as well. So if you know a campaign that I missed or something like that you want me to touch on, just let me know. Otherwise, thanks so much for watching. We'll talk to you guys again really, really soon. I got more videos to make, so I'll get right on those for you. All right, take care. Bye.